Call to order the community development meeting for November 24th. Have myself, Damon Mullen, Commissioner Committee of the Chair. We have Kip McPatrick, and Nicholas Galls, Commissioner of the Committee. We have our Township Solicitor, Sean Kinney. We have our Township Engineer, Jim Hirsch. We have our Committee Director of Code Enforcement, Paul Patel, Davis. Cool. And then we have our Pat as our Township Manager. So we will start off with a presentation from the Montgomery County Planning Commission.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Claire Warner. I'm the planner for Montgomery County Planning Commission, and I realize that the slide does not include my name, so I apologize for that. But some of you might recognize me from previous presentations that I've done at other meetings related to the zoning ordinance and other projects that we've worked on. And this evening, I am here to present a brief presentation on the walkability audit that we've been working on for the past few months. This is a much shorter project than a zoning update. So just a brief explanation of what a walkability audit is, or a walk audit. It's a review of walking conditions in a certain area. And in this case, we did the walk audit within Willow Grove. And the reason why we did this now is because in reflecting on the zoning update and some of the changes that were made to address pedestrian walkability and other pedestrian safety improvements in the township, and there were some areas that we felt could be addressed a little bit more substantially in the subdivision and land development ordinance, and that began us moving down this walk audit path. I will also note that on the right part of the slide is a screenshot from a report that was actually done by a Temple University student. She did a really detailed quantitative analysis of the sidewalk conditions and gaps in Willow Grove and around the train station specifically, also a little bit in Abington as well, just in the neighboring community. And so there's a lot of great work, and a walk audit can go in a lot of different directions. So it can be a more quantitative analysis like the report that she worked on, or a more qualitative report that this one is. So why did we do a walkability audit for Willow Grove? Upper Moreland has done a number of great planning projects throughout the years, including the comprehensive plan that was adopted about 5 years ago at this point. And they had a number of recommendations that came out of that plan related to improving walkability, and specifically mentioning the action of actually doing a walk audit as a way to be a step in improving walkability for a number of transportation safety reasons as well as economic development reasons. So walkability has a number of great benefits. It has, like I said, the economic development benefits by creating vibrant business districts, to improve the physical and mental health of people, improving the environment by reducing the number of car trips that were made, just by allowing people to be able to walk to the store rather than drive, encouraging community strength, creating a more inclusive community for people to do things in, and also just improving safety for pedestrians and road users overall. This is a picture from Ambler Borough, just a nice example of a little walkable downtown. So in terms of the safety, we just heard some reports of the safety concerns in the township. This is data from 2019 to 2023 of crashes in the Willow Grove area. And on this slide, this shows the crashes that specifically involved pedestrians. So there are, you can see here from the data, there are dangerous intersections in Willow Grove. That was one of the reasons why we thought that it would be important to study improving the safety conditions overall. So the walkability audit also has a long section on walkability best practices that includes sidewalk width, buffer or the separation between the sidewalk and the street width, the requirement for street trees, street furniture, not as a safety thing necessarily, but just to improve the environment and the feeling of being in a place while walking. the relationship of driveways and the sidewalk. It also goes through the description of friendly or unfriendly intersections and how they can be improved for people who are crossing the street, and block length or mid-block crossings and how those can be factored in. Okay. Okay, so this is just an example of one of the pages from the walk audit that shows the descriptions of the sidewalks and how those design standards can be integrated into the design requirements for a code. So I'll just take a step back and say that when doing a walk audit, we had kind of two different approaches. We looked at potential projects that could come out of this area of study, as well as what areas of the code could be improved to encourage the kind of safety improvements that we see through the best practices and that we also see in some of the new developments. So some recent developments that have occurred in Willow Grove over the past few years already have a lot of these great elements, best practices integrated into them. And that is in part because of the zoning districts that requires these standards. So as part of the study, we can look at what recommendations can go to improving the subdivision and land development ordinance, which is the other part of the code that regulates land developments in the township. So this is a map of the route that we did. We went out over 2 different days to look at the Willow Grove area. The reddish color is the town center zoning district, just as a reference for where we were. And then these are the scatter shot recommendations that we pulled from that walk audit. So we looked at the sidewalks, the crosswalks, the parking lot design. We walked down residential streets as well as commercial streets. We stood at intersections for a long time and thought about how it felt to cross the street there. And we really, we took a few hours each day to do this and to document what we felt could be potential projects as well as potential improvements to the township code. So big takeaway is that walkability is absolutely possible in Willow Grove. It already has the Great Bones. It has a pretty complete sidewalk network, but there are a lot of areas that feel really unsafe to walk around. And that's because of the narrow sidewalks, because of the little separation between fast-moving cars and where you're walking. That's because of some of the old crosswalks that have faded over time, the limited lighting. And we did this walk audit during the day, but we noticed that there were a lot of areas that were missing streetlights. And one of the advisory planning agency members came with us on the walk audit and to describe how it can be dark in certain areas of Willow Grove, and that's definitely a safety concern. So this is the long list of our general themes that we saw. And this is just a summary also of the analysis recommendations, as well as a few of the pictures that we took just to illustrate some of the issues that we saw. And we understand that not all of this can happen at the same time. You can't make all these changes. That's not the way the world works, unfortunately. But by updating the subdivision land development ordinance, you can add standards that would add improvements over time as land developments come in. If there's an opportunity for a project that might be very specific to a particular property, then that could be something that the township works with the property owner on, or perhaps pursues via grant funding. And that's how we broke down our recommendations for the walk audit. They were broken down by the general issues that we saw and how they could be addressed through the saldo, and then the potential projects that could be pursued through grant funding or further coordination. And this is just another shot of our report, our draft report. Okay, so there are 4 potential projects, and granted, some of them are very long-term and would require a lot of coordination. So this is not an in-depth review, but just introduction to some of the issues that we saw. One of them is for the intersection of York Road, where it peels off of Easton going north one way. That is, we found a really dangerous spot to stand. We saw a number of people crossing the street there in order to get to the Wawa, to go to the Giant, but there's no crosswalk there. And the cars go really fast around that bend. This is a really busy road going up Easton, and they peel sharply off to go north on York. So we have provided a few pictures to demonstrate how a mid-block crossing could be done, with the understanding that, of course, coordination would have to be done with PennDOT. This is a PennDOT road, but this is absolutely something that we would recommend considering for a long-term project down the road. Another project would also take a lot of coordination, and that would be with SEPTA. The regional rail tracks go through the township 2 different times. They cross at major roads at Davisville and at Moreland. And the crossings are really quite uncomfortable. There are a lot of obstacles in the sidewalk that we saw in a few different places, and understanding that this is probably not going to happen tomorrow, but this is definitely something that we think that should be addressed in the long term, and it's not unheard of for SEPTA to make these kinds of improvements at their stations where there are a lot of people who are walking in that area. And along Moreland and Davisville, those are 2 busy roads in a busy commercial zone, and with lots of residences living nearby. Another one that does seem a little bit more attainable in a short-term time frame is the Cherry Street crosswalk to the Cherry Street Park. It's a lovely township park. There is a crosswalk that exists. However, it has it feels a little incomplete, and in some of the aerial images, not in this one in particular, you actually see a car parked on the crosswalk because the bumps don't go across, the little speed bumps don't go across the entire width of the road. We feel that this would be a really great opportunity for improving the crosswalk, to make a raised crosswalk that would improve accessibility for people who might be walking with strollers across to the park with young kids. And it would also help to slow traffic down on that residential street. This is a good candidate for a grant funding opportunity that we would be able to help with. And the last project that's listed in this plan is the potential coordination with the property owners of the Willow Grove Shopping Center across the street. It has a really steep drop-off along Moreland Road, very narrow sidewalk, and poses what we feel is a tripping hazard or a falling hazard, and if nothing else, it would just improve it aesthetically to get rid of that slope and treat it a little bit differently, and certainly improve the walkability along Moreland Road. Again, this is a longer term project, but with the development that's being considered for that shopping center, we feel like this could be a good opportunity to leverage the improvements there. Okay, so really quickly, just a high-level overview of the recommendations that were being discussed in this report. Like I mentioned before, they're related to the subdivision and land development ordinances, to review specific sections that would address these major concerns that we saw, such as the sidewalk width, the obstacles in the sidewalk, and the slope and relationship with driveways and crosswalks. To look at the design standards for lighting, pedestrian scale lighting, specifically for landscaping and parking lots, and screening of trash and loading areas. This would also take into account, well, I should say the SALDO doesn't apply just to a specific district. It is township-wide, as you all know, but not everyone knows that. So it wouldn't be just in the town center district. This would apply to all districts, including the residential streets. And so as part of an audit of the subdivision and land development ordinance, we would look at those standards a little bit more closely to see what might be appropriate for residential areas or commercial areas. And again, these are the 2 projects that we mentioned before, the crosswalk and the steep slopes, and looking at crosswalks and the 2 other projects that I mentioned before. So what's next for this report? We do have a draft that I hope to share with the township, but I didn't want to send it in advance of this meeting. I wanted to first introduce it to everyone. And so once that draft is sent to the township and we have it fully reviewed, then we can begin the process of auditing the subdivision land development ordinance and assisting the township with whatever other projects might come along. But the main goal that I hope to be able to get out of this report is to be able to use it as an aid to update the SALDO, as well as to update the SALDO in relation to the zoning and what might need to be addressed, you know, any inconsistencies that may have come out of that zoning update. Yeah, and then potentially a more detailed study of specific projects could also be addressed down the road, but in the meantime, this is a good first step. And that's all I have. I'm happy to answer any questions if anyone has any.
No question, I have comments. Your SEPTA train crossing, the crosswork there? I've been on there 16 years and we've been trying to get SEPTA to do something. There's one problem,
Yeah.
just there.
I understand.
And it's been recognized by everybody. It's just, when somebody gonna listen before somebody gets hurt, you know, with that. And the other thing is, when we say our intersections, state intersections, a lot of ours are rated as 4, which is the lowest you can get. And try and get PennDOT to change something, again, 16 years. You know, we took us 7 months to get a pothole filled up at Fitzwater Town Road,
Yeah.
so.
I understand there are hurdles.
But I love your ideas. I mean, they're what we should have been doing for the last 15 years. It's getting the cooperation from those entities, because they are major concerns.
I understand, yeah. The one thing that I will say about PennDOT, because I hear that a lot, PennDOT, you know, working with PennDOT, how are you going to get anything done? They have been, over the years, my understanding is that they have been better about working with communities to make these kinds of improvements. They have a more fleshed out staff that works specifically on pedestrian and bicyclist improvements during their roadway construction. So that's a glimmer of hope in terms of working with PennDOT in the future.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thanks. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I didn't have anything. Nick, do you have anything?
I just wanted to comment about the curve in the road coming up north on York Road. My wife used to walk to the train station from our neighborhood and see those cars flying up and down Eastern Road, and the sidewalk right near the road really bothered me for a long time. I was glad that she stopped commuting that way. But it really is an issue. When I looked at this report, that there's very little space between the road and the sidewalk anywhere. Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, when we were doing the walk audit, we nearly got clipped, actually, so
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
reinforcing that.
Any public comments on that? Okay.
Thank
you,
you very
Claire.
much for your attention.
Thanks, Lon. Okay, we'll move on to the approval of the minutes, October minutes. He's not connected. Any approval?
We're fine.
Fine, okay. All right, so we'll move on to, so the minutes are approved, last month's meeting minutes are approved. So we'll move on to land development subdivision. So this is for the land development for the township building.
All right, I'm Kevin Gottschall from Gottschall Kane Architects. We're the architects for the project, and I thank you very much for that opportunity. Before Mr. Hirsch stands up and explains more of the details of the project, I'll give you a quick overview. And I'm not sure why I can't advance this. I'm sorry, I'm locked off. No.
You should just take it and drop it back down.
Maybe Maybe if I shake it real hard. There we go. Okay. So in terms of project goals, I'll summarize it very simply. We're trying to provide more space and better space for the police department, for the township administration, and for the residents of Upper Moreland Township. There's also a focus here to make sure that we create a definable public circulation space within this building that gets residents to the services that they're seeking and makes a clear separation between those public spaces and the administration spaces within the building. So we're looking for something that can be safe and secure for both the township residents and also for the township administrative staff. Quick overview of the existing building. As you can see it here in gray, the library is on the left, township building is in the center. Park Avenue is across the bottom of the site, and Center Avenue across the north edge of the site. The proposal modifies the layout of the existing site. It does put additions onto both the police wing and the township administration wing. I'll also point out that the current approach to the police area is you approach it off of Park Avenue. We are moving that entrance to the parking lot side, and the vast majority of people that come to the township building enter from the Center Avenue side. They would be able to enter directly into the police wing from the Center Avenue side. The township side will still maintain an entrance off of Center Avenue as well as one off of Park Avenue, albeit it'll be a different entrance than it currently is. Again, just a view of the existing building in gray and the location of additions. It's a one-story addition on the police side, and it's a two-story addition on the township side, linking up with the 2 floors of the current township building. The next slide shows how the building is being used. So the yellow areas are that public circulation area that I talked about before. There'll be an entrance off of the parking lot. There'll be an entrance off the front of the building on Park Avenue. The yellow area off to the side will give township residents direct access to all the services, all the public meeting rooms, all the board rooms, from that safe and secure public lobby. They will not be able to go into the township administration areas unless they're invited back into those areas. Similar situation for the police, but obviously their public space is much smaller than the township space. It's really just the vestibule. Just some quick images of what this will look like. This should be very familiar to you. It's the current entrance into the township building off of Park Avenue. We're suggesting that the small pediment that's all the way to the left of the building in front of the library would be that new township entrance off of Park Avenue. That takes you into the existing stair tower that was built in the 1990s, but we would give it a new face, a new image, a new inviting entrance. Here's that same corner, so the canopy to the left behind the white car is existing, but the canopy to the right of that with the double columns on either side, that would be a new entrance. Around the back of the building, the entrance into the administration area, the boardroom off to the left. We like to keep the boardrooms on the outside envelope of the building so that people that are driving by can see when there's board meetings going on. I'd also point out that you'll notice here that the distinction between the existing building and the new building, we're really trying to make it an expansion of the building. We're using the same brick, the same cornices, the same architectural detailing to try to tie the whole building together. So a view of the back of the building, again, off to the right is the administration entrance, to the left is the police entrance. And just an image of the police lot with a canopy covering the patrol vehicles. Very important when there's ice and snow to keep those vehicles clear and clean. An image of the interior lobby. This again is that defined zone for the public. So it's 2 stories. You can see off to the left of the image, there's a transaction window. This will get you to all the departments that you need to access. It'll get you to the boardroom. I'd also point out there's a 2-story element of this, It's a two-story lobby, and we've tied it together with a small atrium. That both makes sure that those lobby spaces aren't isolated from one another, that you can hear what's happening from floor to floor, and also the double height windows are bringing light into that lower level to make sure that it feels like a nice environment, a place that people want to be. We're able to get natural light into the administrative offices from there as well. Just another view of that two-story space and some of the transaction windows. View into the boardroom from the lobby, and an image of the boardroom. And these will be updated. I believe we're here again on December the 1st. So there will be new renderings and some updates on what this looks like, but it doesn't vary too much. It's pretty much in line with what we're showing here. Any questions for me before I turn it over to Jim?
Just a comment, you mentioned December 1st. You will be back before the full Board of Commissioners on December 1st with a little more detailed plan
Yes.
of what the township building will look
Yes.
like, possible cost estimates
Yes.
associated with that, and a timeline as we move forward.
Yes.
Thank you.
This new boardroom is going to be similar to the size of in here.
It's
Because
slightly larger,
The
but not,
picture makes it look massive, just so everybody knows.
No.
It's not going to be a massive boardroom. It's the angle, the way it's sitting. It's going to be similar to here.
we were
It's not-
told to match it. We made it just a little bit more because I just didn't want to make it a little less.
But the picture makes it look like
Yeah.
a grand
understand.
thing. Boardroom one there looked massive.
It did.
That might be controlling. I didn't do that. Oh. I don't know why I did that.
Am I just up and down to flip through these once I'm there?
Should be able to scroll with that.
Okay.
Oh, there's this. No, no.
I can plug mine in. I have the plans.
Do you need the cords or does he have it? Okay. He's got it.
Sorry. I'm not going to touch it.
What do you think? Just scroll to get through them? All right. All right, sounds good. I'm Jim Hirsch, the Township Engineer from Gilmore and Associates. My office handled the site design and land development plans for this project. So what I would like to do, I want to thank Kevin for the thorough overview, and I'd just like to run through the land development plans and then discuss some waivers. We have 8 waiver requests. The plans had been reviewed by your township's traffic consultant. They were reviewed by the Montgomery County Planning Commission. Last Thursday, we were at APA and got a recommendation for approval from them. So what you see in front of you there is a site plan, pretty much the same plan that was in Kevin's presentation. We have site access, full site access for the public from Center Avenue, and that is across from Summit Avenue, so that they line up there. And then there would be a police dedicated access to Center Avenue on the right side of the plan. One change to the access on Park Avenue is currently next to the library. As everyone knows, it is an out only. That would change to be full access in this plan, and it would also line up with the access that was recently installed as part of the retail building construction across the street by Federal. The existing entrance and exit off of Park Avenue near the police station would remain, but that would also be gated and be police access only in this scenario. There is ADA access from both Center Avenue through the parking lot to the township building. The quote, main entrance front of the building being, where we all come in now off of the parking lot. There are 149 parking spaces in the current campus, and in this proposal, there will be 143. There's 147 shown on this plan. We're going to talk about 2 areas where we're going to lose 2 spaces in each area based on the reviews that we got from Bowman. One of those locations is right where the entrance and exit is by the library. There are 2 parallel spaces that are right on the side of this building here now. Bowman feels, and my office agrees, that having those 2 spaces there could create a conflict with people pulling into the site. So we think it would be best if those were eliminated so that you lose 2 there. And then with the design of the gate and the key entry for the police access off of Center Avenue, there's the need to lose the 2 spaces closest to Center so that there can be a safe queuing area for vehicles in and out of there. That's about all I have on the site plan, but I would like to direct your attention to this plan, which shows the grading and stormwater management design of the project. I think it's, right now, this site has no conventional stormwater management detention facilities on it. There are no basins that you see on the surface. There are no stormwater basins under the ground. There are some inlets throughout the parking lot that collect runoff when it rains, and then it is all working its way down towards Park Avenue, kind of between the between the library and the township building. In the proposed condition, we would be installing 2 fairly substantial underground detention basins. They'd be a network of 30-inch perforated HDPE pipes enclosed in an envelope of stone. They would total together 11,000 cubic feet of storage, which to most of you means absolutely nothing. But I converted it to gallons, and it would be 82,000 gallons. So, if you think about a 1,000-gallon storage tank that's 6 feet wide by 8 feet tall, we're going to sink 82 of those into the ground and then let this fill up with stormwater. So there will be an improvement there. That they will function to reduce the rate, volume, and then also filter the water to provide better water quality. And those all meet the current PADEP requirements. We're in the process of amending the township's MPDS permit for the site to accommodate. And then from there, I think other plan people are probably interested in is the landscaping plan. There would be street trees supplemented along Park Avenue there's a couple of street trees existing on Park Avenue, which would remain. There would be some added, so the landscaping package along Park gets spruced up. There would be street trees and shrubs and just a streetscape improvement along Center Avenue, where there isn't a whole lot today. The site design that was incorporated from the beginning of the project kind of creates a green space behind the library on the plan left side of what you're looking at now. And so that area would be planted pretty densely to create a sort of grove area with trees. I don't have a lot to add with that plan. And there's 7 or 8 other sheets in here, but they're not gonna mean a lot to anyone. So if you're fine with going through the waivers, that'd be where I'm at, but I could also answer any questions that you might have.
I do have a question. I see the next one, talk about lighting. Where is the lighting? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So we have a lighting plan here. The lighting is a combination of some stuff on the buildings and then some light poles throughout the parking area to light the site in accordance with generally accepted lighting practices. And the one main requirement that your lighting ordinance has is that there be a cutoff cutoff on all the fixtures, so like we're not lighting the sky, that we're directing all the light down. And then this photometric plan is just showing you what the light levels are at various points throughout the site. And what we're trying to do is make sure that the spread across the site is good enough to provide the light, but then also that it doesn't spill over onto adjacent properties or, create any sort of nuisance to any of the surrounding properties.
Thank you.
And there will also be a level of pedestrian lighting along Park Avenue, which is intended to match what Federal Realty will be putting in across the street.
Thank you.
Do you want to go through the waivers?
Yeah.
All right. We're going to start from the bottom to the top because I just think it makes a little more sense if that's all right with everybody. So we have a waiver from showing detailed survey information for an area of 400 feet surrounding the property. Anybody who's been to this committee before knows that we give this waiver to pretty much every applicant. We have surveyed the surrounding property sufficient to do our design, so we would ask for a waiver from there. The requirement that we submit a preliminary and then a final plan, we're going to ask for preliminary / final approval. That's a pretty standard waiver also. The replacement trees. So the ordinance has set replacement requirements for trees that you are taking down that are between 8 inches and 23 inches in caliber. There are some existing trees that mostly adjacent to the existing parking areas that will be removed to create the new parking areas. We tried our best to fit as many trees as we could on this plan without crowding the plantings. So we are 13 trees short of the requirement for replacement trees. And those don't take into account all the street trees that we're planting and the parking lot landscaping trees that we're planting that we're required to plant per the ordinance also. The parking lot is required to have a shade tree in every parking island. As you can, if you'll look to the center of the parking lot and the top of the screen, there is a sidewalk and crosswalks to get from center to the building. Because those islands have sidewalk in them, there isn't space to plant trees. So the waiver request is for 3 trees in those areas. The ordinance requires an 8-inch reveal on curb where standard practice is 6 inches. The 6 inches will also aid in ADA access, which is a big part of this plan. The ordinance requires a 30-foot cartway and a 50 feet of right-of-way along Park Avenue. Park Avenue, the width has been deemed sufficient by the township's traffic engineer in past proposals, namely Federal Realty didn't widen their side, so we are asking that the township not be required to widen their side either. And then the issue of the right-of-way, it would be 5 feet additional, but because you own the township building parcel and you own Park Avenue, it's not really an issue. And if we were to extend the right-of-way onto the parcel, there would be site walls and other improvements that would be sort of straddling this line that is just invisible anyways. The last 2 are related to stormwater management. As I mentioned before, the site design for stormwater management is in accordance with PA DEP's requirements. They differ a little bit from the township's requirements. As you may remember, there's been some other developments in the township which have happened recently where the site is fully impervious or close to fully impervious when you start, and there is no conventional stormwater management on the site. And what we are doing is bringing it much, we're meeting the NPDS requirements, and we are providing a lot more stormwater management than currently exists today. Those are all 8 waiver requests.
Jim, where does all that water go?
The water will go, it goes down into Park Avenue, and then from Park Avenue, it works its way to Veterans Park and that creek there.
Creek, yeah.
Mhm.
I didn't have anything. Any public comments? Commissioner comments?
Good evening, Commissioners. Sorry, let me move this down. Kathy Gilmore-Clough, Upper Moreland Library Director. We're excited to see green space. I know that somewhere down the road, there's potential for utilizing that to support the people that visit the library. I do want to, comment, as we can all see, it sort of shifts the bulk of the parking to being closer from the library to the township building. And I would like you to consider down the road, this might not be the right meeting, but identifying those 13 parking spaces closest to the library as perhaps library parking only. Just something to think about. As we heard earlier, it's great for people to walk a little bit more, but at the same time, we have a lot of people with mobility issues or families with small children visiting the library. And, we want it to be safe for them to move from the further reaches of that parking lot to the library entrance. Thanks.
Thank you.
Sean, that's really not a problem if we decide, Sean? No. I mean, that's just signs for us to make it enforceable.
Yes.
Just have to ask all native vegetation.
Yes. The design meets the requirements of the ordinance.
Any other public comments? So I think we're in agreement to move this ahead to the December 1st meeting.
Yeah.
Paul, do you have anything you want to?
No, just recommend a move for action at the December 1st.
Yeah.
Full board meeting.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And our solicitor did prepare a draft resolution, I believe so.
It's been a long time coming.
Thank you, Jim. Thanks, Tim.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay. Okay, we'll move on to new business. So we want authorization to advertise amending the International Property Maintenance Code.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner. Upper Moreland Township currently follows the 2015 International Property Maintenance Code. The state Uniform Construction Code will be going to the January 1, the 2021 ICC Code Series. While the Property Maintenance Code is not part of Act 45 of the Uniform Construction Code, there are some similarities in the 2021 Property Maintenance Code. So I think it's really just a housekeeping. It'll keep the Property Maintenance Code in line with the state adopts under Act 45. So I'd ask the board to move this for action. Well, we can't move for action December 1st because we have to advertise it. There are amendments that go with it. We're carrying those amendments over from our previous ordinances. So we would look to adopt it at the January full board meeting and authorize it.
It doesn't work, it's not a zoning ordinance, it doesn't
Right,
require a
doesn't
public
require a
hearing.
public
But,
hearing.
yep,
But it does have to be advertised.
yes.
So I would just ask the committee to authorize the township solicitor to advertise the ordinance for adoption in the first regular meeting in January.
Yeah, we have no issue with authorizing
Okay.
the township solicitor to advertise it. Yep. Thanks.
On your office will handle the advertising? Okay, thank you.
All right, so we'll move on to the next new business, amusement device license application at 425 Westmoreland Road.
Yes, I can speak to that. The applicants are here this evening. Before we turn it over to them, they do have amusement device licenses. They weren't aware of our ordinance. We came along, informed them of the requirements to have amusement devices within 300 feet of a residential use or district. So they did apply for the license. I had to deny it. And the appeal process is before the CDC and eventually the Board of Commissioners in order to have these amusement devices within 300 feet of a residential district or use. So the applicants are here? Yes. You'll have to speak?
Is it three, Paul?
It will be three, yes.
Yeah, good evening, everybody.
But Paul, to clarify, under the ordinance, they're not allowed to have any.
They cannot have any
Okay.
because of proximity to a residential area.
Yeah, thank you very much for giving me a chance to appeal for my hearing. My name is Almal Samant, and first I want to express that I fully understand and respect the township zoning rule and concerns. My goal is not to against any audience, but rather to work with the township to find a reasonable solution that benefits both the community and my small business. My store has been a part of the neighborhood for many years, and I have always tried to operate responsibly, respectfully, and in full compliance with all local laws. The amusement device I am requesting permission for are skill-based machines, not a gambling device, and they serve as an important source of revenue that helps me keep the business running, especially in a difficult economic environment. Small independent store like mine facing increased costs, rent, utilities, insurance, and inventory have all gone up dramatically. These machines have support the store so I can continue my small businesses. I am very thankful to you. You give me a chance to speak my comments, but ideally because these machines I provide them my maps 300 feet and everything, and I just want to know these machines help us a lot, especially the last few years after COVID. We are staying in our business because of that machines. There's a little a reasonable profit from them. So we keep put that profit into the store. So we keep running the business and neighborhood. And we have never problem for 7-8 years, we never had any problem with the gambling machine or any call to the police or like this. We try to be safe and secure in the neighborhood. I'm open to a verify or a probationary. They give me the probationary or permanent, they can visit and whatever. Thank you very much. That's all I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
What do the neighbors think?
I have not heard anything from the neighbors. Maybe the applicant can attest to that. I have not heard. So.
Please come.
Sure, I'm sorry.
Have you ever gotten any complaints from the neighbors?
No, not at all. And all my neighbors, you can ask, my customer, we are here 8-9 years, and 90% my customers are regular every day. You can visit and you can ask to the customers. We had never complained about anything like that machines, and they asked me for give me the space where you putting the machines. I gave them that map, and the machines are all the way away from the entrance and from the a store register. They're all the way on the back. They can come and if they, in some places I saw that when they get the permit, they ask them to put a wall on it. I can do that too if it's necessary. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
I know in the past, we've had a probationary period, let the neighbors comment on it, and then, make a decision later, no?
We have done that in the past. The way the resolution's been prepared, a trial period of whether it's 60 days for one machine, if no complaints, then the the resolution could authorize my office to release the permit for the other two, or however the board wants to craft it, so.
How long have these machines been there?
Well, okay.
I mean, probationary, I think we would know by then. Chief, do you know, and Todd's here also, if we have had, can you confirm we don't have calls for the gambling machines there? There's your answer.
And then we run into the same situation with the In-N-Out Food Market with their machines?
Yes, correct. Correct, similar, yep.
And they went through the same process. We caught them having it there, and then they had 3, and then we went back to 2, and then they went through a probationary period, right? If I can recall.
We came upon them.
Yeah, okay. And what's in this appeals process? They're in the appeals process right now?
Right now, the applicant.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, I did confirm that the machines are not operable, that they're unplugged, so pending the recommendation from the Board of Commissioners.
So
They are registered with the state, or the county, whoever has to register them, is what you said.
I'm concerned with the township. I don't know if they have to register with the state. I think that's something that might be skill games. I think there's a separate requirement. But our ordinance, it includes these skill games, any amusement device. So that would be separate from the state. Any additional state licensing would be on them. I don't think we would, if the
We don't have anything to do with it, but I'll ask the applicant. Are those registered through the state, the small game at all? Okay.
The guy who owned the machine, he told me they are working on it, but I'm not sure they're registered or not yet.
Okay.
Yeah. So the goal is for us to either approve this to move to the full board for the appeals process? Or approve
that's up to the committee, if you want to move forward with the recommendation, with conditions. I guess if you opt not to move it forward, I guess it would just end here, or would it still have to go vote?
No, you need a vote in front of
Okay, so it's entirely up to the committee what they want.
Whose award is that?
It's mine.
Sure. Oh, you needed to ask your neighbors.
I do.
Okay.
But I guess from a practical, he's been there 5 years. There's been no issues with the no noise. I don't see a reason why we wouldn't just move this ahead to a full board vote.
Okay, and Solicitor's Office will prepare a resolution. I don't know if you can get it done. No pressure, by tomorrow? Wednesday? Yeah. I guess it would be Wednesday. I guess the books are going out Wednesday.
So we're going to move this forward for the full board consideration on December 1st, pending if we can get the resolution from the solicitor's office by Wednesday morning.
Yeah.
That's a yes. That's a yes.
It's going to the full board for a vote
Next Monday.
Yes. Yeah. Can you wait that long? Thank you. Okay, so we'll move on to all the new business. Consider the cancellation of our December 15th Community Development Committee meeting.
Oh, okay.
I'm good with that. Good, so cancel. Yeah. Okay, so there's no old new business. We'll move on to our monthly reports. Code Enforcement Department report.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner. The committee has my November 2025 report. As a comparison, I've included the November 2024 report. I have nothing to add to either reports. Happy to answer any questions the committee may have.
I have no questions.
No.
Dave Elsier is not feeling well and unable to make it tonight. His report is in your packet. Should you have any questions, I'll try to answer them, or we can get them to Dave.
I have no questions.
I'm good.
engineers report.
Thank you. My November engineering report and our landscape architecture report are in your packets. I don't have anything to add, but would be more than happy to answer any questions.
No, I don't have anything.
I'm done.
Oh, any public comments on the code enforcement report, the public works department report, or the engineering report? Okay. We will move on to the EAC.
Hello. Let's see. So along with Parks and Rec, we're hoping to do a spring tree giveaway for Upper Moreland residents. We've chosen Octorora to be the supplier for these native trees. Also, actually kind of wondering what will happen to it with the redevelopment, but the Outdoor Environmental Education Center behind the library is doing well at this point. So we'll see what happens with it with the redevelopment here. We actually removed invasive vines from along the creek at the dog park. So last time we actually removed invasives from the wetland, the small wetland that's in the dog park, and this time it was along the stream. And thanks to Parks and Rec, we got some volunteers. We had a crew of 10 and worked for several hours. And we also talked about removing invasives from along the stream, Round Meadow Run in Veterans Park twice a year instead of just once a year. So we're hoping to do it again sometime in the spring. And we hope to have our Earth Day on April 25th of 2026. So hopefully that works out. Any questions, comments?
No questions. Any public comments, questions?
I do have one question. Meadow ordinance moving along? No?
It has not moved forward at this point. It'll be up to the committee if they would like it on the agenda as it moves forward.
Okay, so,
Ordinance?
The Meadow ordinance.
so wouldn't we like to have that on the agenda?
Mr. Chairman?
It will have to be on the end of January because we're not meeting in December.
Right,
Yeah, and plus we'll deal with the new board.
yeah.
Yeah.
So good way to start the new
There
year.
you go.
All right, thanks.
Historical Commission.
Good evening, Commissioners. So you have my report in front of you. We had just spent most of our last meeting in October talking about the things that we've done all year. We've done a lot. And talking about next year as well for what we're going to do in 2026, which we know is going to be handled through Parks and Rec for many of the things that we intend to do, as well as Farmstead Alliance. I included that in item number 2. The major thing from the UMHC is a film festival. You know that we have a strong belief that history is an economic driver, and we have a wonderful person, Jackie Sharapinski, on as a member of Large, who is an actress who's done a lot of work out there on the farmstead, bringing in various New Jersey and Delaware groups that do independent filming. And we're talking about a film festival at the farmstead in May of 2026. Jackie's going to handle this in her amazing way that she always handles everything. And we'll, be bringing details to you from January until I assume April, so that you'll be apprised of this idea. It will involve some monetary, well, there'll be money involved in terms of the people that will have to be able to do this film presentation, because that's how these things work. So I won't get too far into the weeds, because I will not be there to be directing any of this. But it will be a new and involving thing throughout next year and into 2027, I assume. that we are going to be looking for people to come and film on our streets. We're going to be looking for a way in which we can utilize some of our historical properties. So that's probably one of the most exciting things. The other is the scavenger hunt idea, which has really taken off. We've had both the school district want to expand on that, as well as the idea that the community as a whole might be interested in participating. You will see that we are talking about ground penetrating equipment. And the reason that Rebecca's name is here is she is a soil scientist, she has a PhD, and a wonderful member at large of the Historical Commission. And she's going to be looking at getting that so that we can look at the farmstead and what might be underneath, what other buildings, because obviously Alan Sentman has made a great leader, and he's talking about what other things have been buried over time, on that property. And if we can find outlines of buildings, they would be the buildings that he would then take forward through the alliance, obviously, back to the township. When he was talking about the master plan, adding buildings out there on the grounds themselves. So lots of things to look forward to there. The mural arts project, the last one, number 6, is moving forward. Pocket Percussion would definitely like to be involved. They are asking for time with the school district, so this will be an emerging, quickly, but an emerging idea of how that mural should look. He made it very clear to me that he does not want a 1976 Americana mural on the side of the building. That was never his intention, but something that would really honor Willow Grove. And since we were here during the Revolutionary War, and we had people dying up here at the Red Lion Inn, he would be looking at the idea of incorporating that reality and bring it into this century. So it's a bigger project than just putting red, white, and blue all over the side of the building. And I leave that to the artsy people who, know what they're doing with things like that. And the school district, again, is very involved in wanting to have their art students at the high school and the middle school involved, not in painting the wall, that would be the high school students, but in doing another art project. So we have a lot of exciting things. And again, this would also involve, obviously, Katie Kohler. And I guess other than the Revolutionary War House tour project, we kind of come to the end. We have the pictures. We've actually done a draft on what a video would look like of all of them. So it could be virtual as well as you could be able to walk. And I think the only thing I was tasked with doing was finding someone at a reasonable cost to the Historical Commission who could put some type of an Americana plaque on each of the 20 historical homes that would signify as you're going by or driving by that this is a home that was here during the Revolutionary War. We obviously want the community wider as well as the 24,772 of us to be able to know where these buildings are. And again, if you're driving by, to be able to see them. So I don't know anything about fabrication in that regard. I've seen some very expensive things. That's not what we're looking for. So if anybody could help, and Dave is not here today to talk about that. Oh, and last thing, we are going to ask Mr. Alcier to take down all of the broken flag banner holders, anything that is not going to tolerate the winter now, and then put everything back up. Yeah, if it's fine, that's great, because we did do some replacements, but we're not going to try to do a winter, summer. We're going to get ready for April of 2026. So that's something that I will ask him to do. And this is my final report to you. So thank you for appointing me so that I could do this for the past 15 years. I've enjoyed it immensely, and I look forward to joining you all, some of you,
When you
in January.
when you say take down the banners, are you talking the post too?
You'll see, Commissioner, that some of the banners are gone, but the hardware remains kind of hanging there. So we're going to clean it all up, not take anything down that's up there, but that's in good condition, but just do a cleaning.
Okay.
Yeah. Fair enough. Any questions or anything you want me to take back, I have one more meeting
Oh, any
in
public
December.
comment?
That's it.
Any public comments?
No?
Nope.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that will bring the CDC meeting to close.